What's going on, guys? Tower number 9 here. We had a little audio issue with the previous version of this video,
That's
so
tough.
we are re-recording here. This is going to be myself playing Iden Red versus DestinyRiku playing Leia Red. So Leia Red, very traditional rebel
Huh.
aggro deck. Iden Red, more of a control build, but hopefully has the healing and so on to survive the early aggression. Let's see
Is
how this
this
goes.
worth it?
So we're starting off. I did win the roll to go first, so I'm going to
All
lead
right,
off with a regional governor
we're
here.
gonna
I
try it.
also have a cell block
I
guard.
will
I have some
say
nice removal options.
Green
Feels
Squadron
pretty good to
A-Wing.
me. So I play regional governor and I name Green Squadron A-Wing, and my opponent has a really interesting
What
reply,
are you doing?
which is he shows his hand and then actually concedes the
What?
game immediately.
Are you
Um,
scooping?
and that might sound crazy, but no, that's what
Okay,
happens. You know, I
we
play
can
I
go to
play
game
regional
two if you
governor. I
want.
say Green Squadron A-wing, and he just scoops, and we're on to round two. The reason for that is, and he goes and shows. He'll show his cards to explain this in more detail. But he had resourced into, so he resourced that Sabine
No,
in for a cause.
I
So
think
he
you may have
had
shuffled it. Or no, two
Green
of those were the
Squadron A-wing,
those are
Bright
the
Hope,
resources.
Red
Okay.
3, and Guerrilla Attack Pod.
Yeah,
That was
that
his
is a
hand. His
very
only starting
unfortunate
play was the
situation.
A-wing,
If you
and
want,
I
we
had
can
just
go to
blocked
game
it with the
two. But
governor.
yeah,
He felt like he really needed to get an early advantage here against this, annoying control deck.
okay.
And when I blocked any
Yeah, game
prospect of
two.
him
Let's
having
go.
a turn one play, he decided, you know what, let's just call it and go to game two. So here we go to game two. And I actually forget to sideboard here, which
Yeah.
is a little interesting. But because
Well,
game one was so
this time I'm
abrupt,
gonna
I
mulligan.
did not think to get my sideboard in here. So we are playing a little inefficiently here for game two. Let's see how
Oh,
this goes.
I'll commentate on that. That'll be funny. All right. Let's see.
Destiny Riku will be able to go first this time.
You get to go first.
So my
True.
opponent plays a Green Squadron A-Wing, which
Um,
is the play that I blocked the first time. I'm again going to lead off with a regional governor, I believe, but this time I think I say
I
wing
think I
leader.
still play the governor and I say wing leader.
Yeah, so I'm trying to block wing leader to prevent
And you'll take
the
initiative. I don't
A-Wing into wing
guess.
leader play, which is really good. Do draw a Power of the Dark Side there, so I'll be able to use that to clear the A-Wing this turn if needed. Destiny swings in for 3 damage.
I
I'm going
will
to go
power
ahead
the
and play
dark
Power of the
side.
Dark Side, clearing out that Green Squadron A-Wing. This will also mean that I've now defeated a unit, so Iden will be able to heal 1. My opponent plays Sabine.
I will use item to heal.
I'll use Iden to heal 1 damage from my base. Initiative taken by Destiny
I
Riku.
will hit Sabine with the governor.
I'll have my governor swing in for 2 damage
And
to,
I'll
or
Tarkin
for
down
1
her.
damage to Sabine, and then use Tarkin Town to clear out
And then
Sabine
I'll
as
pass.
well. Just trying to keep the board small and get into the later game here, where I should have more of an advantage. Thus far, I've successfully prevented very much damage
Okay.
being dealt. My opponent uses Tarkin Town, killing
I
the regional
will
governor there.
I will pass. No, I wish.
Then I think I pass, and my opponent
Right.
plays a Bright Hope. I'm
Um,
going to, I think, play the Interceptor here and do the 3 free damage to Bright Hope. The Death Trooper is a very weak play,
I'll
and
play
I
an
don't want to
interceptor
just
and do
play
3
a
damage to
Viper
it.
Probe and waste my other 2 resources. So
Pass.
the Interceptor comes out there, does some damage, and my hope is to clear this Bright Hope this turn.
Hmm.
This is a tough resource decision for me. I would sort of want to resource the Viper Probe,
Tough
but the
calls
downside to
here.
doing that is that means that if I play at one of my 3 drops, I don't have anything to fill the other resources. So I think I end up actually resourcing Gideon Hask instead. Gideon is a good card, but if I
Okay, you
want
get
to
to go first.
play Open Fire plus Viper Probe,
Okay.
or if I want to play Death Trooper plus Viper Probe. This way I'll be able to play a little differently. My opponent plays a Wing Leader, buffing
Hmm.
up Bright Hope. Not what I want to see here. Let's see how I respond.
I'll hit it for 3.
Interceptor attacks into Bright Hope there, doing 3 damage. Bright Hope swings in. Bright Hope now has 2 HP left, which means I can potentially kill it with my
I will.
Ruthless Raider on this next turn.
I will play a Viper Probe
I go ahead and
again.
play Viper Probe, and
Okay.
I see that my opponent has 2 Metal Ceremonies and Sabine in hand. This is very bad. So my opponent deploys Leia. The double Metal
I
Ceremony is going to be a
will
big
play
problem.
a
I decide
Death
that I'm going to use
Trooper,
Death
damage Leia
Trooper
for
to
2.
damage my opponent's Leia. And while that does leave the Bright Hope alive, I'm going to be able to take the initiative and kill it with
I
open
will
fire
take
before it gets a
initiative.
chance to attack, even after my opponent plays out 2 copies of Metal Ceremony. But having those big buffs for Leia is not what I want to see,
Alright.
and is going to put me in a bit of a tough spot. And then Sabine also deploys. So that was a very strong turn from DestinyRiku. Let's see if I can come back from it here, though. So one option this turn would be to just play
Let's
the
see here. Oh,
Ruthless
wait, I have to
Raider,
resource.
but
Sorry.
it no longer actually kills Bright
I
Hope. So it looks like a better option is maybe going to be to
think
open
I
fire,
resource
take out
here.
Bright Hope that way, then get the cell block guard on the field. However, I
Don't
am
like
taking a lot
this.
of damage. It is not looking good over here.
I will
Yep,
open
open
fire,
fire,
kill
killing
the
Bright
Bright
Hope.
Hope.
That's the first play. Really don't want to take 6 damage there. Destiny swings in with Leia, doing 6 damage herself, and then interestingly uses Sabine to kill
Okay.
my Death Trooper. So Sabine's
I
on attack
will.
ability kills the Death Trooper before he does any retaliation, but I actually think that was a comparatively weak play, and it would have been better to just do damage to the base directly, given the life totals here. Might give me a bit of a chance to come back. We'll see how it goes.
Heal 1.
I'll use Iden to heal 1 from that unit being cleared. My opponent unfortunately has
Deploy
red
Iden.
3, which I really do not like to see here. I will deploy Iden. My opponent swings in for 3 damage there with
I will.
the buffed wing leader, thanks to red 3.
Cell block
I'm going to
guard.
bring out a cell block guard and a battlefield marine hits the field. So now what I'm going to do is just try to take out
Trade
2 of these
there, heal
units.
1.
So the Viper Probe trades with the Marine, healing my base for 1 with Iden. Then Iden is going to
I'll
defeat
have Iden
Sabine.
kill Sabine, heal 1.
Also healing my base for 1, and now Leia is still
And I will
alive,
pass.
but would have to attack into my cell block guard, hence not damaging the base. However, the space threats are pretty real.
Yeah,
This
that's
turn, the
very
main
interesting.
question is, do I want to go for the Raider, or do I want to resource the Raider to allow me to play both of these removal cards this turn? I do need to resource the Raider to go up to 7. If I keep the Raider, I could play it and kill the Wing Leader and deal 2 damage to base. The problem is
This is so
it would be
weird.
my only play for the turn, and Raider is kind of more of an aggressive play than it is something for this sort of situation, but we'll have to see where we go. Destiny does have the initiative here, so we're going to probably take 3 damage on the first action from one of those space units, maybe with Leia
I
attacking
think I
into the cell block
resource
guard at
here.
the same
You have the
time. I do end
initiative.
up opting to resource the Raider so that I'll have both those removal options. Leia takes out the cell block guard and has red 3 swinging
Okay.
to the base. So what I'm thinking now is that I have to use the takedown.
I will.
I have to use the takedown to kill the wing leader to guarantee that it doesn't get a chance to swing for 3. If I played Power of the Dark Side, my opponent could just kill Leia or something and then still swing in for 3. I really can't afford to take that damage. So it's going to be
I'll
takedown on the
take
wing
down the
leader, which
wing
is
leader, heal
unfortunate,
1.
but still gets me a point of healing. A An Echo Base
Power of
Defender
the
takes
Dark
the
Side.
field. Power of the Dark Side will take out one of my opponent's
Heal
units. It's going to
1.
be red 3. That's another point of healing for me. Opponent takes
Kill
initiative.
there,
Iden
heal 1.
trades there, and that's another point of healing for me. But that Leia is still alive and swinging for 6 damage. Really not what I want to see. I can clear her with open fire this turn, but I'm just feeling substantially behind with all the damage that I've already taken. Going to take 6 more at least this turn. Actually ends up being 8 more with a Fleet Lieutenant, and that's basically game. So I'm
Open
going to
fire, kill
open
Leia.
fire to clear Leia. That does allow me to use Iden to heal 1 more, but my opponent then plays another unit. It's going to be another red 3. Yes, I can kill it with this
I think that's
interceptor,
game. I
but
can
now
kill
my
that with
opponent
an
just takes the
interceptor, but you can
initiative, and
come in
that's
and kill
going to
me
be a
next
win
turn
for
again.
DestinyRiku.
All right, let's go to the
Ultimately, we
next
were
round.
not able to really stop him. The double medal ceremony was a big problem that
First
game.
one wasn't great. I actually
But, you
forgot to
know,
sideboard after that first
that's how it
time.
goes sometimes. We are going to actually sideboard now, which I had forgotten earlier. So we're going to use that to get the system patrol crafts in from the side. I think I removed Gideon here, which is I'm not sure that's correct.
All right,
But
it's all coming down to round 3.
okay. Well, we're going to see how this goes. I do get to go first this time. My initial hand doesn't have a starting play, so we're going to go for the mulligan there.
I think it's like
Or
kind
we
of
mulligan into
memey
what I
or
think is a
whatever, but
great
at the
hand.
same
So we
time,
have
you
a
are at
lot
a
of
legitimate major
removal options
downside, major
and
disadvantage. So,
a
like,
Death
I don't
Star
know.
Stormtrooper
I
to
wouldn't
lead off
say
the
like,
game. Death Star Stormtrooper is a
horrendous.
1-cost 3/1 when going first, at least a pretty sweet situation. I probably would have tried to see if I could. When going
Pull
second, it
something
is
out.
vulnerable to Sabine Rand Explosives Artist, but of course, if the opponent uses their Sabine to kill your trooper, they're not using her to attack the base. That might honestly be an acceptable outcome.
Yeah, there's that.
Destiny
There
Riku
was a
still
Warcraft
sideboarding
3
here.
custom map called Are You a Lucker? Yeah, and it was like one of those maps that has a bunch of mini games, but they were like they had major luck components to them.
Okay, so we're seeing Destiny Riku's sideboard decision, but I am really happy with this hand because I'm going to be able to play the Death Star Stormtrooper, which can then trade with either Battlefield Marine or Sabine Explosives Artist on the next turn since I have the initiative, and then the power of the dark sides and make an opening that I have in hand should suffice to give me major removal options in order to try and control the game. So first game was a quick win. Second game was a more drawn out loss, and in the third game, I have a good start here, and let's see what I can do with it.
Okay,
Destiny Riku
good luck,
has
have
finished
fun.
sideboarding and is drying up for game 3. Let's see how we do.
I will play a Death Star
I'll lead off
Stormtrooper.
with that Death Star Stormtrooper. Destiny leads off with a Battlefield
I
Marine.
will
Love to
take
see it because
initiative.
it means I get an easy kill on the first on my opponent's first unit.
Wow.
I draw Inferno 4 and open fire. We're going to resource Inferno
That
4
was a
here so we
very
have a
wacky
handful of
hand.
removal and can just take out whatever unit my opponent
I
plays this
think I
turn.
resource.
Now, interestingly, the worst thing
I
that could happen
will
from
first
here would
action
probably be
Tracers.
like multiple small units. Luckily, that's not the case when we see red 3. However,
I will
I do
power the
actually
dark
misplay
side.
this a bit. I take out red 3 with Power of the Dark Side.
And
It would
I'll
have been
pass.
better to use the open fire here instead because Power of the Dark Side can punch above its weight while open fire can't. We then see a Bright Hope, which is a perfect example of an opportunity to have Power of the Dark Side punch above its weight.
Bright hope.
Could also do open fire plus Tarkin Town, but that would be a weaker play.
I think I just power the dark side.
Power of the Dark Side again, taking out Bright Hope. Opponent will take the initiative. We will pass. Thus far, I feel like I'm doing pretty well.
I think I should have sideboarded this differently.
But there
Okay,
is
that's
one
fine.
big problem, which is that the way that I played that was suboptimal. If I had used that open fire to kill red 3 instead, and I had the another Power of the Dark Side in hand, I would be in a far stronger position to deal with Leia. Power of the Dark Side very notably does kill Leia, while open fire does not. And yeah, so my opponent goes for the immediate Leia deployment. If I had the Power of the Dark
I
Side
will
still, this
say
would
wing leader.
basically be game over in my favor, I think. I erroneously exhaust 3 resources for Governor. I think I saved
Oh wait, that
Fleet
costs two.
Lieutenant
Sorry,
here.
I did three by mistake. I will open
Or I'm
fire on
sorry, not
Leia
fleet leader, just
before.
wing leader. So then I do end up playing open fire into Leia, but it doesn't kill her. That is really
Okay,
kind of
so
the
then
weaker
swinging
play that I
for
was discussing.
3, 4, 5, 7.
And then we have
I will take
a
initiative.
hard hit to the base from a buffed Leia with Fleet Lieutenant. So the downside of going for that Power of the Dark
Oh
Side
yeah,
earlier and
good
not
point.
having it here really apparent is I am heavily punished for that decision with major damage to the base. He gets to play Iden this turn, so hopefully Iden will be able to take
Okay.
out Leia, but don't have an immediate removal response that will actually kill Leia since she has 4 HP remaining. Um,
Um,
She
deploy
didn't have
Iden.
that academy training. I could have taken her out with make an opening, but we're going to get hit pretty hard here. So that's going to be another heavy attack here. Leia coming in for 6 damage and then 3 more
That
from the
hurts.
Fleet Lieutenant. So now we are at fairly critical life, and the game has, after just 2 turns of the opponent attacking, thanks to
Kill
those
Leia
nice
with
buffs
Iden.
on
Heal
Leia.
one.
Thankfully, Iden can defeat Leia and not take any damage thanks to her shield, while also healing my base. My opponent ambushes and kills Iden with a mercenary
Okay, so
company,
base
however,
takes 1.
which does 1 overwhelm to the base. I erroneously subtract 1 instead of adding 1, but it should be 1 damage added to the base here.
Let's see
Thankfully, my
here.
opponent corrects me, so we do get this one right.
What was that?
But yeah, Mercenary
Oh
Company,
yeah, sorry.
5/5, ambush and overwhelm, comes in there,
Um, hmm.
defeats Iden, 1 overwhelm. I'm going to remove the Mercenary Company using Make an Opening, which will also heal my base for 2. Um,
I'll use make an opening,
So
kill the
make an
mercenary
opening, kills
company,
the
and heal
mercenary
2.
company, heals base for 2. And in this situation, probably my best move is to hit the governor
Hit
with
that for 1, and
the,
then Tarkin
or
town it,
hit the Fleet Lieutenant with the governor, and then play the second make
and
an
then I'll
opening
pull.
to kill it and heal another 2. But for some reason, I used Tarkentown instead. I think that's a
Hmm.
bit of a misplay because it means that I don't use 3 of my resources this turn, which is
That
not
is an
efficient. It would have
odd
been better to
call.
play the make an opening, have the healing, and still have Tarkentown in reserve for
I
later
think
in
I
the
have to
game.
do this.
So unfortunately, I think that was another mistake from me. Let's see if I can recover though. Destiny brings out the old Echo Base
Hmm.
Defender. I'm going to take it out here, I believe, with an open
I
fire.
will open fire on it.
Good. He uses his Tarkin down to clear this governor. I'm going to go ahead and use Iden's
Hello.
ability to heal
Heal
1
1.
damage from my base. And then I think we see a For a Cause I Believe in here. Yeah, that's right. For a Cause I Believe in, revealing 1, 2, 3, 4
Ouch,
units,
4
or
damage.
4 heroic cards for a lot of damage. He keeps a Fleet Lieutenant in hand,
What did you keep there?
or on the top of the deck, and discards
Okay.
the other cards.
I'll play
I'm going
System
to go
Patrol
ahead and bring
Craft.
out the System Patrol Craft, which will give me a little bit of extra security and space. My opponent takes the initiative.
Yeah. And
This is probably going to
let's
be
see.
a no resource hand. I can play all 3 of these cards this turn if necessary. My opponent pays 6 for the Mighty Gorilla Attack Pod, aka Sabine's Fire Spray. And I'm going to go ahead and play Power of the Dark Side, killing it immediately and allowing me to use Iden to heal 1. And then I swing in for 3 damage with
Hang
the
on.
swing in for 3 damage with the System Patrol Craft,
Hmm.
and then I will also be able to play out my Regional Governor this turn. So that's a pretty good turn for me.
Okay, I'm gonna play Regional Governor
I
and
end
say
up
for
playing
a
the
cause
Regional
I
Governor
believe in,
first. I think I say
and then I'll
for a
hit your
cause
base for
I
3,
believe in here as the card that I'm
and then
going
I'll
to ban.
pass.
That's ban, he says, but the card that I'm going to
Hmm.
prevent my opponent from playing. And then 3 damage to base with the System Patrol Craft.
Oh, and I'm sorry, did I heal 1? And if not, can I heal 1? I think I did. I think I did. Okay. Okay, so killing that and then
All right, the
doing
Mercenary
1
Company
to
shows
base.
up. Another one of those, defeating my Governor and
Okay,
dealing 1
I
damage to
will
the base. I'm going to go ahead and use
cell block guard.
the Cell Block Guard to create a barrier there. My opponent attempts to play a
Yeah,
Metal Ceremony
yeah,
to
you
buff
can
the
take it back.
Mercenary
That's
Company,
fine.
but it doesn't actually work because the Mercenary Company is not repairable. However, I would
Take
actually kind of
initiative.
prefer that my opponent does play it because with or
Viper
without the Metal
probe.
Ceremony,
Look at
I
your
can just
hand.
kill this unit with Force Choke. Looking at my opponent's hand, I
Okay.
see a For a Cause I Believe in, an Echo Base
Let's see.
Defender,
Oh,
and
I did
Metal
that in the wrong
Ceremony,
order.
and that
Oh,
Fleet
force
Lieutenant.
choke
We're
and
going
kill
to use the
the
Force Choke
mercenary
to kill
company. Use item to heal 1.
Mercenary
Yeah, hit
Company.
your base for 3.
Then we use Iden to heal 1, then we do 3 more damage to the
And
base.
I'll pass.
Incidentally, that was another misplay for me. It would have been strictly better, I believe, to use Force Choke and then play the Viper Probe Drive, because then I would have been able to see one more card, the card that my opponent drew, thanks to Force Choke. So definitely I made a few errors this game on my part,
Maybe.
and we'll see how things continue. For a cause I believe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more damage to my base. Those are really adding up. And we see the Gorilla Attack Pod left on top of the deck.
Hit the base for 3.
I swing here for 3. This is actually another mistake. My opponent can bring in a Echo Base Defender, which I believe I knew he had. And in this
Um,
situation, I could have used if I had swung with the Viper
yeah, I
Probe
think I have
instead,
to. I'll make
I
an
could then
opening,
have
give it minus
used
2,
make an
minus 2,
opening
heal 2.
to debuff the Echo Base Defender, swing into it with the Cell Block Guard, and have the Cell Block Guard
Crazies.
survive. But because I did it this way, my Viper Probe Droid ends up being
Use Iden to
defeated.
heal 1
However, I still do get a fair amount of
and hit the
healing,
base
so
for
that's
3.
okay. I guess, I don't know. I might have been thinking about the prospect of another mercenary company or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking. I don't know if it was like objectively a mistake, but I do think it ended up being disadvantageous compared to attacking with the Viper Probe instead. All right, let's see here. Destiny plays a copy. So I have Emperor Palpatine, which I'm thinking as a counter to the Gorilla Attack Pod that my opponent still has. My
Uh,
opponent plays a Fighters for
Force
Freedom, and I'm going
choke,
to counter
kill
with a
that.
Forced Choke.
You get to
That
draw.
does give the opponent a card, but I know that on 5 resources, he doesn't have enough to actually play the Gorilla Attack Pod, and clearing the Fighters for Freedom prevents me from taking chip damage if he plays out
Okay.
any more aggression cards this turn. Ends
Tradesies.
up with a Fleet Lieutenant that doesn't do anything. I'm going to swing in
Use
and
Iden to
trade
heal 1.
heal
So that's
1
3.
again with Iden, and then 3 more damage to base.
Pass.
Iden's healing, and as well as the healing that has been added by my making openings, has been very clutch this
That's
game. I
so
draw
weird.
Del Miko. I should probably resource him here, as that would put me on 9 resources, allowing me to play both Palpatine and the Stormtrooper,
I think I don't resource. I
but
have a
I
lot of
end up
resources.
deciding not to
Yeah,
do that. I think going to 9 would be nice because it would allow me a stalling play of using the Stormtrooper and then
K2.
potentially setting up for a bigger hit with Palpatine. My opponent plays K2SO. I'm going to go ahead and I think I
Base for
just
3.
swing into the base here for 3. K2SO buffed by a Wing Leader up to 6 HP.
That
Wing
costs
Leader is
3.
kind of countered by my System Patrol Craft, and
I'll
now
play
we're going to be able to
kill
play
K2.
Palpatine and deal 6 damage to K2, which will kill him.
Uh,
My opponent can
you
deal
want to
3
hit me for
damage to
3?
my base with K2's ability, and then I can heal 1 with Iden.
Are you hitting my base for 3?
So
I'm
3
pretty
damage to
sure I've
base.
won, but we'll see.
Opponent's move. Ends up just taking the
Use
initiative,
Iden
which
to
I'm
heal
happy
1,
to
and
see.
I'll
Iden
pass.
will heal 1.
Good
And
game.
now
That
we're looking
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good
That
here.
last
And
one, that was an
actually,
intense
DestinyRiku
match.
concedes the game, not having an answer to Palpatine. I could probably actually close the game this turn by attacking with Palpatine and then playing the Raider, or attacking with Palpatine in the System Patrol Craft. Ultimately, I was able to get the win despite, I think, actually having made quite a few errors that game. So the reason this game got so close was because of the large amount of damage he was able to do with Leia when she deployed onto her leader side. I could have averted that if I had conserved the second copy of Power of the Dark Side and used the open fire on Red 3 instead. Also had a few inefficiencies later on in the game as well, but ultimately was still able to get the win thanks to Iden's healing. And so the healing from Iden and make an opening recovered me a lot of HP this game. I think I actually would have lost the game if not for that. especially since my opponent hit several reach cards with those for a cause I believe in, and so on. I was also luckily able to counter the gorilla attack pod when it first landed, and my opponent had a second pod that I was poised to counter it as well, if need be. So, ultimately, the first game very short, the second game more drawn out, lost. Third game, I made some blunders that turned it into a much closer game, but was ultimately able to pull it out and get the win. This is, yeah. So this is. Um, I do think that Iden Red is better against aggro than Iden Green. Iden Red, you get cards like Forced Choke, Open Fire, Imperial Interceptor. You're getting those cards that in the early game are going to provide you with some extra punch that can give you some more removal options, more ways to deal with your opponent's units. And by doing that, you end up in a situation where you are in a better spot for those Power of the Dark Sides, better spot for contesting the early game overall. A lot of the stuff that Command adds is actually not very good against aggro. So the best card that Command adds against aggro is Consortium Star Viper, which is totally a real card against aggro, especially Rebel aggro. But um, but I think a lot of the stuff that Command adds is actually stuff you don't really want very much against aggro. So like, you gain ramp cards, you gain overwhelming barrage can be at least decent. You have to kind of set it up, but it can be at least decent. But things like the ramp cards, the big battleships, Vader commanding the First Legion aren't really as relevant against aggro compared to what the aggression aspect brings to the table for IVs. So I do like the aggression one a little more, is having more of a defense against aggro builds, which are historically kind of Control's weakness. All right, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks to y'all for watching. We'll be back later with some more Star Wars Unlimited content. I will catch you guys later.